everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Investing Across Borders show. I'm very excited to have David Modlin here. And it's a very exciting talk because a lot of people hear about all these stories about Canadians coming to the US and being successful. And well, David, he's actually a Toronto native and he has invested successfully in South Florida. And we're going to talk a little bit about his story and what are some of the opportunities that we have here. So, David, thank you so much for joining us. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is David Modlin. As you know, you heard, I'm originally from Toronto. I lived there my whole life up until, I guess, around 2013. And now I'm working in the Boynton Beach, Palm Beach County, basically area as a realtor.
Okay, that's awesome. So, David, why don't we start from the beginning? What made you want to come to the US, especially in the South Florida area?
Well, a number of reasons. It all started off with one property that we, while I was living in Toronto, that we purchased as an investment property, and that was working out well. Even though we're in Toronto, we managed to, be able to have it looked after while we're still in Toronto. And then, basically why we moved here, a number of reasons. Obvious reasons is the weather, of course, but the cost of living is a lot different down here than it is in Toronto. Cost of real estate, taxes in general. There's no state tax here, so there's a lot of reasons why we moved here, and we're happy we did. And we ended up basically selling our house in Toronto, ended up renting, and took the money from our house and bought more properties. So at this point, in the United States, we own 4 properties and then one overseas as well.
That's awesome. Where overseas?
Israel.
Oh, of course. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, Lauren says that one day she's gonna make Aliyah and move to Israel, so that's pretty cool. Um, yeah, that's so great. So, David, what can you tell us about the? Maybe we can start about the South Florida market. I'm in Plantation, so it's also South Florida, but I like to hear from you. How do you see the real estate market right now? Oh, and Lauren's here. So I think maybe just give us like a glimpse about what's happening. I think that'll be a
Sure.
really good.
Well, as you probably know, with mortgage rates as they are right now compared to what they were over like a year ago, is a big difference. So what I'm seeing is that I'm still very busy. However, I'm busy with the lower priced properties. So anything below, let's say 350, 400, let's say, I'm quite busy because obviously mortgage rates don't have as much of effect on a property that's more money, substantially more money. So I'm seeing anyways, a lot of activity in the lower range prices, and not as quite as much, say, in the upper range. But there's still a lot of people moving down here. Inventory has increased, which is good. It gives buyers more of a choice. Personally, I've got a closing tomorrow. I've got 2 closings in April. I mean, thankfully, from my perspective, we're doing pretty good. Again, my closings are involving the lower price properties at this point, and the market's very healthy, I think.
That's great to hear. So we've seen how the market has been shifting. So maybe you can talk a little bit about. You mentioned kind of like the price points, but more or less, what type of properties are we looking at for those kinds of price points?
Just give you an example of what I'm closing on.
Yeah.
In the next little while, I have like a villa, which is essentially a single-story townhouse. So I'm closing tomorrow on a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom townhouse in Boynton Beach. I'm closing the beginning of April on a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom villa in Boca Raton. And I'm working actually with a buyer from Oakville through Lauren, which was great. And she's buying an investment property that we're closing on beginning of April as well. And that a little higher price point, but a great investment property, going to be used jointly as an Airbnb as well as for personal reasons, which is what I do, what we do in Israel for our Airbnb.
Right. Yeah. Okay. No, that's great. I think a lot of people are a little bit, skeptical when it comes to buying an investment an investing property, something that we can invest. So I'm assuming that the investing investment property for this client, she's really or he's really looking for the long term, or is there? Do you think there's potential to get positive cash flow after, with the financing fees being so high? So what would you say to someone who's looking to buy an investment property in the South Florida area? Um, but then the financing fees are, making it a little bit more difficult to get positive cash flow from it. So, is it a long-term game nowadays, or what's happening?
Well, I can only speak for myself. My kind of investment that we have is long term, and what we've done, we've purchased properties in good school districts down in our
Mhm.
area, in like say Boca Raton, or whatever area we're investing in. And the reason, obviously, is because school districts down here aren't necessarily top of the grade. Let's say, so
Yeah.
good school districts are premium. Boca Raton basically has all good schools. Boynton Beach has a pocket, and we own a property in Wellington, which has good schools. We've had properties in Boca. We have one now in Boca. Actually, it's good schools, and ours is long term. And ideally, I mean, obviously, if you have cash, it reduces your costs, so that's ideal. However, with the rents they are down here right now, it positive cash flow is a lot easier than it was, let's say, a few years ago, because rents are very high down here. So it makes it
Mhm.
a little easier.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, for people who don't know the area, so David is talking about the Palm Beach County, which is South Florida. So we have the Keys all the way down south, and then we have Miami-Dade County, which is all the Miami areas. Miami, like people say they go to Miami, that's more or less the area they go to. Then we have the Broward County area, and now we're up in Palm Beach. So that's from the south to the north. So we do have some questions, David. I want to get to them as well.
Sure.
For people that are watching us on Facebook, on LinkedIn, or YouTube, wherever you are, thank you for tuning in, because this is a another great opportunity with somebody who knows the area, somebody who knows the market in South Florida. And South Florida is one of the biggest attractions for Canadians, just like you, David. So, someone's asking, is this for Canadians buying in the U.S.?
Say it again.
Is this for Canadians buying in the U.S.?
What does that mean? I'm sorry, I don't understand.
So I think what they're asking is, if there's opportunities for Canadians buying in the U.S. Um,
Yeah,
so
for sure.
I mean,
I'm a good example. I mean,
exactly.
I'm still Canadian. I have dual citizenship, but I'm still consider myself Canadian. And listen, we bought at a time when real estate was really bad down here. When it's really
Mm.
low. I mean, I don't want to tell you what we paid because you'd be sick. Um,
Wow.
but we obviously the price have come up, so we've done very well. Um, I mean, by virtue of the fact that Florida, with baby boomers retiring and such, and people migrating from other states like New York State or Northeast United States, California, especially, during COVID, it was nuts because people moved here because, you can be outside and, politics aside, our governor had a certain, philosophy about the whole thing. So people were able to be outside
Yeah.
during that time and have dinner and bike and whatever. So
Hmm.
it was much better, obviously, than being stuck in the winter inside during that time. So a lot of people moved down during that time. And, I think it's a good investment. Is it, I don't, some people do flips. I've never done flips. I don't have the stomach for that, I just, it's not my thing, but some people certainly do that. They buy foreclosures, they fix them up, they flip them, and all the power to them. That's still
Yeah.
certainly doable here.
Right.
For me, it's a long-term investment, and I think as a long-term investment, otherwise I would have sold. And we've had properties for a long time. We like the income, and we're quite happy with what we've done in terms of the investment and the return we've received. Absolutely.
Yeah. No, so I do want to mention something very important, David, that yes, I mean, anybody, can come and invest in real estate in the US, but you just have to know how to do it right. And we're going to put the link in the chat, because this is, I think, in our Facebook group, where people can actually book a call with us. We can advise you as to the best steps to take, so that you don't go and create an LLC online just because you think that's the right thing to do. let's talk to the professionals. We'll be able to connect you to the asset protection team and to our tax advisors so that you set up your entity the right way, and you can get in, like somebody saying, yes, because I want to get in as a Canadian investor buying in the US. And that's exactly what we help people with. We have amazing partners like David. He can help you as soon as your entity is set up, as soon as you know where you want to, if you want to invest in the area where David is an expert in, I'm sure he'll be happy to do that. Somebody else is asking, obviously, this is going to determine the exact location, but what is the lowest price? Or you can maybe just give us a range that you can get a good property for a two-bedroom, two-bath home or some type of investment property. I know it's very difficult to answer, but kind of just a range, some in a good district, in a good area. I don't know
Mhm.
if you can give us kind of like an estimate.
Yeah, I'll give you an example of one I'm closing on in Boca Raton. So this is an all ages community, and what I mean by that, we have communities down here that are geared toward 55 or older people. So this particular community is all ages, and it's in a good school district. So it's Boca Raton, good school district, all ages. Um, and this one is closing, and I'm not really supposed to give you an exact price, but I can just tell you that the asking price was 274, 990 thereabouts,
Okay.
and that we're going to be closing for less than that.
Okay.
So I
So
hope that.
that's, yeah. So let's just say around the 250s to 300s, kind of.
Yeah, around 260 would be a fair amount, I think.
Yeah.
It all depends on how the property's finished. It may vary because of that if it's on a lake, for instance. But you're looking at between that and for a two-bedroom, two-bathroom in Boca, as an example, anywhere from 260 maybe to 300 for that villa. A single-family home, of course, would be a little different. You're going to be paying
Yeah.
substantially more for a single family home in Boca, depending on the size and everything, but it could be anywhere, between at least $400,000, let's say.
Yeah. Perfect. No, that's great. And then some people are saying, how do I know you're legitimate? Well, we worked with David before, so we know that he's for real.
You can
I
go to my
love these
website. You,
questions.
you go to
Yeah.
my website, David Listing Specialist,
Yeah.
davidlistingspecialist.com, and
So
you'll see where I work. I work for Coldwell Banker, the broker, and you'll see my reviews and stuff. And Lauren wouldn't work with me if I wasn't legit. Trust me.
yeah, so you always want to first you want to contact us because there's things that we need to do before we get to David, okay? But
Right.
David is legitimate, so don't I
Yeah,
don't
we
even know
work.
why.
We work as a team. So like,
Exactly.
I take the lead from Lauren and her gang, and we work together. So I don't work. I wouldn't work independently with you. I would work within the umbrella of the organization, and I partner with them. So we're all one big team.
Exactly. Yes. It's all part of finding the experts in the fields that are needed for your particular situation. And if South Florida in the Palm Beach area is your desired area of where you want to invest or where you want to move, then David will be happy to take care of you. So we have experts all over the world. So it's David is here in the Palm Beach area, and we know South Florida is a very attractive area. So that's why we're doing this show so that people can understand more or less what they can get, and some of the steps that they need to take. Somebody actually asked a very a really long question about the best option for Canadians to buy, private lenders, if Canadians have to pay double taxes to the US government and Canadian government, and how much. Well, let me tell you that this is what we do. So you might be able to avoid those taxes. Not all of them, obviously, but we need to talk to to the tax advisor and to the asset protection team. So it's hard for us to just say, yeah, just put X amount down and then do an LLC. Please don't do this. This is the wrong way to do it. So just we need to talk to you to understand what are your goals. So please just book a consult so that we can get to that and really advise you in the right way. We have a program specifically for real estate investors, especially from Canada. So and as far as Lendai, we're actually going to put the link if you need financing, because we work with Lendai, who actually does financing for foreign nationals. And I'm going to ask one of the team members for somebody to put that link in the chat. So so yeah, so there are charging fees. Oops, there are charging fees for the consultation. But right now, because we had a master class yesterday, David, I don't know, yesterday or Tuesday, the days just keep piling up on me. But if you book a consult with the team, Lauren will make an appearance. So just book a consult by the end of today, and Lauren will be able to be there. All right. So, and as far as charging fees, it really depends on what you need. But I think we also had a couple more questions. Let me see. So we said, what area does David specialize? So David, what is kind of like your area where you feel comfortable advising people?
Sure. Basically, it's Palm Beach County, and Palm Beach County consists of anywhere from the north, say West Palm Beach, Singer Island, heading south, Lake Worth, Boynton Beach, Delray Beach, Boca Raton, Wellington. Those are some of the major cities within Palm Beach County. Go further south into Broward County. That's like Fort Lauderdale, that area. I don't really do Fort Lauderdale at all, so I really concentrate in the Palm Beach County area.
All right, that's great. I can tell you, I live in Broward County, and if you want to invest, don't invest in Broward County, invest in Palm Beach, and we'll get contact with David. We do see a lot of opportunities farther north from us. I live in Plantation, so the prices are a little bit lower, and you still get the same thing. And I mean, it's only 20 minutes away, so you're still getting. If you want to go to Fort Lauderdale, you're about 20 to 30 minutes away, obviously depending on where you're at.
Mm-hmm.
So so that's great advice, David.
Just my 2 cents worth about Palm Beach
Yeah,
County versus Broward and Miami Dade. As you go further south, it gets more expensive, definitely. It also gets way more congested, and the traffic is harder as you go further south. So Palm Beach County is a little more relaxed, a little more open, and maybe one day it'll get congested too. But right now, it's nowhere near as congested as it is as you go further south. So,
yeah.
those are something to consider.
No, I love that you said that, because we do see that as well. We do see a lot of people from Broward County moving over to just Palm Beach, even if it's only 30 minutes away. So even locals are leaving our county to be able to just be in South Florida, but within, in within 30 minutes from here. Because like you said, the traffic is getting pretty bad, and the area is getting too blown up. So, but Palm Beach is still a really desirable area, and we do have a lot of friends who are just moving a little bit farther up. It's still Florida, so that's a great point. Thank you for mentioning that.
Pleasure.
Yeah, so the areas that he mentioned is really Palm Beach County. If you just Google Palm Beach County, any city within there, David is going to be able to help. And someone's asking, long-term tenants or Airbnb, would you suggest in those areas? I'm guessing it depends, but David, what do you think?
Yeah, it depends what you want. For instance, if you want to use the property, you can do that as an Airbnb. Once you rent it annually, or even you can rent it seasonally as well, like for during the winter, and then use it during the summer. Um, it just depends on how you want to use it, and how you want to see the income. I mean, when you have an annual income, you can more or less count on that income coming in. If you have an Airbnb, it's really hit and miss. You don't know if you're going to be rented constantly. So it really is an individual decision for your situation.
Definitely. And there's also seasons. So you have to also look at the high season and low season, depending on, what your occupancy rate is an expected occupancy rate for the
Mhm.
lowest and the highest season. So I agree with that 100%. There are some neighborhoods that are more prone for long-term rentals, as opposed to Airbnbs. So it really just depends. So that's where you got to start the process, my friend. It's all about beginning the relationship and understanding what are your opportunities, where are you looking at, what type of homes are you looking into to purchasing as an investment properties. So I do have somebody is saying, I am a client, Lauren, and her team is legit and has a lot of Canadian real estate investors in a number of investment networks. So thank you for saying that. I appreciate that. And okay, and there's also another question. We're getting a lot of questions. This is great.
Good. That's good.
Yeah. Are there positive cash flow long-term rental opportunities that make sense? Again, like David just said, it really is going to depend. So the first thing that we need to do is book a consult with us so that we can then get your business entity set up and start the process. Like David just said, he's closing in a lot of properties in the next 2 months, the next 3 months. That makes sense for a long-term investment. But if you wanted to have positive cash flow opportunities, it will depend on a case-by-case basis. All right, cool. Well, David, we're almost out of time, but I want to open up the floor. Is there something else that maybe I didn't ask you that I should have asked you, or something important that our viewers should be aware of?
No, but all I can say is that I completely empathize with the Canadians because I'm one, and I went through what you're hope to go through. So, I've had that experience culturally, economically, every which way, and from an investment perspective, I've had a lot of experience, with long term here and short term like Airbnb in Israel. So. I'm hoping that not only as a realtor selling and buying real estate that I can offer you as well as my colleagues offer you is good input advice as to how best to approach it.
Definitely, yeah. And I do want to, before we go, there are some important things that I do want to mention. Um, First of all, this has been so great. Thank you guys for so many amazing questions. David has been amazing at answering them. I think he gave us a really, really good, kind of like a high level view of what is possible. Like he said, the farther you go south into South Florida, the more expensive it's going to get. So Palm Beach is really a very desirable area. Even people from Broward want to live in Palm Beach, just so that you know. um, so, and somebody else is asking, as a Canadian, you can buy a property in the US with an LLC from Canada or the US. No, don't do that. Just schedule a consult with us first. Because if not, you're going to get in trouble, and we don't want you to do that. There's been a lot of times when we're on consults and for some reason they decide to set up an LLC, and you definitely don't want to do that. You want to talk to us. We'll help you set up the entity the right way so that you're not double taxed, so that everything is in order. And then we can direct you to the right real estate professional like David. If you want to do it in Palm Beach, he'll be happy to help you and take care of you like he's done with a lot of our clients. Okay. So just keep that in mind. And now, David, I don't know if you know, we have a mastermind next week
Okay.
that's coming up. It's about real estate investing. So
Oh,
just what
well.
we were just talking about. So I think one of our team members put the link in the chat so that people can register for it. And we're going to talk a lot more about real estate investing, not just in South Florida, but all over the US. And that's going to take place on the 23rd, I believe. So the link
Okay.
is in the chat. So have people, if everybody wants to register, it'll be great. And then we're also gonna have a lot of different times when Lauren is gonna go live in the group and all the time. Like I think it's once a week at least, so that you can ask questions more specific questions. Just keep in mind that it's cannot be legal advice because you're not paying a retainer or anything like that. But Lauren will be going live and it'll be be really worth your while. David, I think that's it for me. I want to thank you for joining us.
My pleasure.
This has been amazing. I think people really get an understanding of what South Florida and especially in the Palm Beach area can be about. Um, so thanks again for joining us, and we'll have this up as well on YouTube, and we'll share it with you whenever it's ready. So thanks again.
My pleasure.
All right, take care, everybody. See you next week. Another edition of the Investing Across Border Show. Actually, Lauren will be the one doing it next week, and we'll see you at the mastermind as well. Take care, everybody. Bye bye.